Good evening, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to today's edition of Being Heartful Every Day, a joyful adventure. This program is being conducted to commemorate the 125th birth anniversary of Puja Sri Babuji Maharaj, which we are continuing as a year-long celebration from April 2024 to 30th April 2025. So, welcome to today's edition. My name is Prasanna Krishna. I'll be facilitating today's program. The topic for the week, as you're all aware, is dependency. How are we dependent on the master, the practice, etc. This is the quality which we are trying to inculcate this week in our practice. Yeah, before we start the session, a very gentle reminder to everybody that let's try to think of one or two people in our friends and family circle who have not yet started Heartfulness, and forward the link of the master classes by Ravi Daji to all of them so that they start looking at these master classes and start Heartfulness. So I know it's quite repetitive that we have to do it every day, but let's try to do it and forward it to one or two people. Similarly, this program being Heartful Every Day is being extremely well received by our Abhyasi community. So if you know of anybody who's practicing Heartfulness, who's started new, please forward this link of being Heartful Every Day to them. Okay. So the inspirational reading, we are starting now. Yesterday, we stopped at reading this paragraph which is displayed on the screen, which was, and it's cumulative. So just repeat it for the sake of continuity and then move on. And it is cumulative. The more layers of complexities we add, the more difficult it becomes to listen to the voice of the heart and follow it. So, the more easily we follow, wrong guidance. When we suffer from an untruthful heart and coercions that results from it, it leads to an even greater lack of authenticity. So, our inner environment is messed up and wrong habits are perpetuated. And when we try to be truthful without purity of consciousness, we often end up hurting others in the process because our intentions are not always pure. So, while it is good to be truthful, until we arrive at inner purity, we may not be able to express that truth without hurting others. So I just repeat the starting line of this paragraph. It's so important for us to understand and work with it. When we try to be truthful without purity of consciousness, we often end up hurting others in the process because our intentions are not always the same. Intentions are not always pure. So while it is good to be truthful, until we arrive at inner purity, we may not be able to express that truth without hurting others. When we do hurt others, even unintentionally, guilt often develops. And guilt is difficult to remove. It can only be done through genuine prayerful repentance and letting go at bedtime. And this brings us to another important aspect of being truthful: to accept our own feelings with humility and genuinely offer them in a prayerful state. It purifies our system of guilty feelings, which are the hardest impressions to remove. Related to this is another challenge we face. Can we cultivate truthfulness mindfully? Not really. The result will be superficial because truthfulness is dependent on purifying the full spectrum of consciousness: subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. And to do that, we require a method that reprograms more than just the conscious mind. Some people try to do it through hypnosis, but hypnosis is a very primitive and laborious approach compared to heartfulness cleaning. Unless and until we have removed all layers of complexity from the subconscious mind, it is not possible. Truthfulness emerges from within. Once we remove all overlaying complexities, truthfulness is our inherent nature. In fact, once we try to correct it mindfully, it means we have lost the connection somewhere. Practicing truthfulness mindfully is like practicing compassion or practicing self acceptance. It is good that we are aware of the principles, but we need to adopt the right approach. In this case, the right approach is to expose ourselves to the inner reality, become one with it, and dissolve in that inner state. When we are in osmosis with the inner state, truth expresses naturally without the need for any artificial efforts. That is what Principle 5 is all about. The highlighted text now. When we are in osmosis with that inner state, truth expresses naturally without the need for any artificial effort. To spread heartfulness, we don't need effort or external force. Just as to love someone, we don't need effort. To hate someone is a different matter. We have to think it over too. To do rightful things, we don't need effort. To do wrongful things, we need effort. To fabricate lies, we consume a lot of energy, and to continue on the path of life requires even more. It never ends. I will share you a humorous story about a thief who stole money from a rich man's house. Later on, he went to a shopping center, started spending the money, and got caught because he was using counterfeit notes. So he was summoned to the court and he argued to the judge, "My lord, if I had known that these were counterfeit notes, do you think I would have stolen them?" Nice logic, no? The judge said, "I agree with you. You would not have stolen them if you had known. So how can you charge me for stealing counterfeit money?" The judge replied, "Okay, I'll not charge you for stealing counterfeit money, but I'll charge you for stealing." 2 days later, the thief was summoned before the judge for sentencing and he argued again, "No, my lord, you cannot sentence me because these notes are counterfeit. How can you charge me for stealing currency that has no value?" See his state of mind. Lies logically perpetuate a crooked mind. This is a very crude worldly example, but it does demonstrate how we get caught up in the web of complex thinking of to justify ourselves. Compare this with the truth, which is so simple, effortless, and creates no evidence in the system. There is only innocence. Babuji, the author of these 10 principles, writes in his commentary of Principle 5. Truthfulness really implies a sense of presenting one's own self in its true color. This is the state at which one exclaims so spontaneously, "It is as it is." Let's take a pause here now. I think we are almost on time for our 9 o'clock universal prayer. Let's introspect on what we thought, especially about Reverend Daji's talk on how it takes effort to tell lies and stick to that lie. So let's take some time to introspect. 9 o'clock, we'll start a universal prayer. It's 9 p.m. now. As we do every day, let's sit for a universal prayer. Let us sit comfortably, gently close our eyes. Try to get into a very prayerful attitude, as prayerful as we can, and pray that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. While these words are extremely meaningful and potent with meaning, it's important that we do two things. One is that state of prayerfulness should pervade us completely. The second thing is our heart should be filled with love, devotion, and faith. See, if you have to pray for somebody, unless it is there in the heart, our prayers will not be effective. So let's keep these two things in mind and offer our prayers, saying that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. हम आराम से बैठेंगे, धीरे से अपना आंखें बंद करेंगे और ये प्रार्थना करेंगे, एक गहरी प्रार्थना भाव में डूब डूब के ये प्रार्थना करेंगे कि सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। ये शब्दों तो बाबूजी महाराज ने जो हमें दिया है बहुत दर्द है, पर अगर इसका सच्चा असर पड़ना चाहिए, दो चीज बहुत मुख्य है। एक, अपना जो भाव है ना, वो हम सर से लेकर पांव तक पूरा वो प्रार्थना की भाव में डूबना चाहिए। जितना गहरे डूब सकते हैं उतना असर पड़ेगा इस प्रेयर का। दूसरा चीज ये है कि हमारा हृदय में जो है उसके लिए अगर प्रे करे तो प्रार्थना करे तो बहुत अच्छा होगा। इसीलिए हम अपना हृदय में प्रेम, भक्ति और श्रद्धा भर के ये प्रार्थना करेंगे कि सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। लेट्स कंटिन्यू आवर प्रेयर्स टिल 9:50। Yeah. While trying to retain this prayerful state we have gotten into, let's gently open our eyes. With this, we come to end of today's session. Let's remember to do our bedtime prayer and reflect on the activities of the day. See you all tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Thank you. Namaste and good night.